Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the MindShare Podcast. I'm David Greenspan, and this is episode number 369. Now, over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about personal discipline. We've been talking about execution. We're talking about getting the year started off on the right foot and getting that proper momentum going right off the top, right? We've been talking about what you're doing. We've been talking about what you're not doing. Most people are just, giving up and quitting. And why January matters more than most people say that it does or want to admit that it does. Now, today I want to zoom out because the more conversations that I'm having out there right now, right off the top of the year with agents, with brokers, with owners, with team leaders, the more obvious something continues to become. There is a massive leadership gap in this industry. It's not about a brand and logos. It's not about technology. It's not about, how you feel or the motivation you've got. I'm talking a leadership gap. And the thing is, the people that are paying for it really aren't the owners. It's the agents. So let's go. Let's talk about this. Now, here's something worth paying attention to. Agents are on the move right now. And we're not talking about just new agents. We're not talking about people who are just looking for a great deal. We're talking about people that have been around the game for a good extended period of time. Like, we're talking about the vets. Not all of them, but there's a lot of them. The people that are established out there, the productive ones. And it's not just like one agent. We're seeing entire offices make moves. I mean, look, when you see a really big, long-standing office with one particular brand make a move to another brand, and let's just call it what it is, in this particular situation, we're talking about Royal LePage Your Community Realty becoming RE/MAX Your Community Realty. That wasn't an emotional decision. That was incredibly strategic. And might I add, that included Royal LePage Connect moving to RE/MAX, or moving to RE/MAX and I guess becoming RE/MAX Connect. Now, that was just recently in the past few days. We also know that we've got a Keller Williams office that tried to make actually a move to Royal LePage. But with a non-compete and an injunction, that whole thing has been stalled out. So I'd say not a very good moment, unfortunately, for the folks over at Royal LePage in a particular week. But I'm not zeroing in today's episode on that particular situation or on those particular offices or even those particular brands. But I am bringing it up to say when you see something like that happen, again, that's not just emotional. That is an incredibly strategic move. And side note, knowing the good people over at your community, I know for sure, now I can't say this came from them, but I can tell you just knowing them, it was incredibly strategic. These are very smart people, business people. That run an incredible brokerage, have done some incredible things out there, do incredible things for the community. They go and make a move like that. Again, it wasn't just on a whim. It wasn't just on a feeling one night. This was strategic. Nobody just starts to change staff or never mind. I mean, uproots, business staff, maybe making moves to change up sort of the landscape, what the office looks like. Signage. All the buildings, the branding, the material everywhere. Systems might be changed. Well, systems are definitely going to be changing. Internal systems and connectivity to a big brand from the office. Culture. The culture changes. I mean, all of these things happen when big changes like that happen, when they get made. Now, why do they get made? Well, they get made because, let's say, the leadership team at a particular office feels like they've hit their ceiling. It's almost like there's no more room to grow, but they want more room to grow. They look at support, and they ask themselves, am I getting the right amount of support right now? Are we really getting what we need? Have we been asking for certain things, and it just hasn't been happening? And then you get and I brought this one up not too long ago, a few episodes ago, when we talked about the handshake, when we talked about it, it used to be that like people's words meant something, the handshake meant something. Well, in this case, again, promises stop actually matching, call it reality. We talked about one thing, but something else is happening. And I'll continue to tell you, I'm seeing it way too often from way too many people in this industry. People that are, do I want to say bigger stages? People that people know. Like, we're talking people that people know, be it from events or sponsorships or really being out there in sort of the community of real estate, putting on smiles all the time. Some of those people that you see regularly, some of them are some of the shadiest people there are. They smile. They act like they're doing good for the industry, but they're screwing a lot of people in the background because, again, they're making promises, but they're not actually following through. And all of that, no matter how much you win in a moment, all of that comes back to bite you in the ass. And at some point, it'll bite these people in the ass. Now, when you look at this, another piece of it, though, that we also need to take into consideration here, and just understand, it's not really about logos anymore. Now, I tread lightly when I say that because I do believe, and I would tell you that yesterday I was on my way traveling up and down the highway and sort of, anyways, going out to do something. You know, I notice billboards, and I'm always looking at these billboards, and I'm looking at, you know, what do they say and what are people advertising? And real estate's the worst, like the absolute worst. You got realtors put in their face as the biggest absolute thing you could possibly see on the billboard. They got some funky tagline or logo that we've never recognized, and there's the logo part that I'm bringing up here. Some logo we never recognized. And by the time I've driven by the billboard, I got no idea if you're even in real estate. Of course, my spidey senses tell me you are, but I didn't even get your name. I didn't even get your phone number. Or I did see another one yesterday. The names were so big, the photos were even bigger. I didn't even see a phone number. I didn't even see a logo. I didn't even see anything. I don't know if they were dentists, realtors. I got no idea what they did. So I will say that, as I say, it's not just about the logo. I will tell you there's something to be said about the logo. Because if it is a big brand, and I do recognize it, immediately it's going to tell me what you do for a living. That's helpful. But it's got to be a brand I recognize. Now, to my statement a moment ago, though, about it's not just about the logos anymore, it's not. Because people want more than just the brand. They want more than that, right? We don't just follow the brand. We follow people. We follow good, strong leaders. See, that old pitch from a brokerage of like, we got a big name, you know, you get a desk and a split. It's not holding weight the same way it used to, especially in a market where agents are feeling the pressure. Margins are tighter. People producing execution, it actually matters. So you got to think, if your brokerage doesn't make your job easier, if it doesn't make it, you know, more clear cut of like, what do I got to do every day and how do I make more money? The brand isn't coming to save you either. We know that. Now, this is one of the most frustrating patterns I keep running into. Because a lot of what we do on a regular basis is speaking with brokers and ownership of different offices, different brands. And a lot of what I'm hearing right now, especially because the market is what it is, you know, things like, yeah, we offer trading, but it's, you know, it's optional. You can't force people. Or I hear from them, you know, agents really need to invest in themselves. And look, there is, to a degree, I don't disagree with you to some degree. And then I hear things like, you know, we don't want to force anything on people. I can't force them to do it. And to the same thing, I get that. You can't force people. But here's the way that translates when you say it. We don't want to spend the money. We don't want to invest in our people. We don't want to grow our business. Now, you might be thinking, whoa, that's not exactly what I'm saying. No, but that really is kind of what you're saying. I mean, step out of it. Look at a different business. They're running a business, and they sit back and say, I'm not going to invest $1 into my business. I'm not going to do anything to try to make my biggest assets even bigger. Or what I do, it's going to be like, you know, like we're going to try. But it's going to be fluffy and light. And like, I'm not going to, force everybody. Like, you get where I'm going here, right? But let's be real about what's going on there. Because what's happening now is that we've got a lot of brokerages who came out of this time, maybe I'll even call it the past decade, maybe a little bit more, 10 to 15 to 10 to 12 years. Let's go renovate the office. Let's make it look all fancy schmancy. Let's create nice coffee stations. And I mean, there's something to be said about the coffee. It's a culture thing. But, and that's exactly how Schultz did it with Starbucks, right? Create that place between work and home that's comfortable that people could come and hang out. COVID screwed all of that. So the whole landscape of like the nicer office and, of course, the influx of video, people aren't going in as often. But that was a trend where it was like, let's go build these fancy offices and we'll attract more agents. Well, that ain't a thing anymore. Not even close. Then we got to this thing with like online lead generation where, hey, yeah, no problem. We're going to go ahead and we're going to give you leads. And somebody would come in and say, well, they're going to give me 50 leads a month. You're like, well, I'll give you 100 leads a month. Oh, okay, I'll come over there. And so like everybody was battling the lead thing. But now what? Right? Like, what is that offer? See, most brokers are expecting, and this is just through conversation from many, but most brokerages are expecting agents to go out 100% and generate their own business. And again, I am not suggesting to the agent, so you as an agent listening, this is not one of these things that says, hey, your broker needs to be delivering you business. You do need to go get your own business. But the expectation from a brokerage is I don't have to do anything, or I don't have to do much. I just have to kind of be here. And I realize I'm putting a blanket statement over many different brokerages, so please don't take me out of context here. If you're feeling anything right now where you're thinking to yourself, hey, man, like, you're really telling us that we don't do a good job out there. No. What I'm telling you is just listen in, right? Really try to find something within this message today where you might catch yourself and say, hey, you know what? Yeah, I think I've been kind of doing that. Right? Like expecting agents to figure out, their own systems, like on their own, like figure out how to run your day, what to do. And again, don't get me wrong. There's got to be a sense of that. As an agent, you need to know what you're supposed to be doing in a day. You should be putting in the legwork if you don't know to figure out how to know. And yes, you should be investing in you. But again, as a brokerage, if you want to keep the agents, we got to help. Right? Expecting agents to pay, totally out of pocket for coaching, for marketing, for different tools, for education. Yes, again, they run their own businesses. But what are you doing to help? What are we doing to actually put our foot forward and say, look, this is what I know, this is what happens, this is what, productive people do or successful people do. Let me help you. See, if we're not going to put the hands in to help with different things like this, with systems and coaching and training and marketing and making these people a better version of who they are, how do we complain about low productivity? How do we complain about, poor retention? How do we complain about, agents who are just inconsistent with their results? The math just doesn't work. It doesn't math. The math doesn't math. Training shouldn't be a perk. It's not supposed to be a bonus or some sort of extra. It's infrastructure. Every other serious business invests in it on a regular basis. They invest in onboarding, they invest in skill development, they invest in systems training, ongoing performance improvement. All sorts of other businesses do this, all over the place. They get groups together for weeks at a time. They bring in trainers and they train. They make sure their people are operating to certain standards. Yet here's real estate pretending like everything's different. I mean, this could even take me down the tangent, which we're not going to go down today, about like all the infighting that goes on and all the public infighting that goes on. You don't see another industry doing that. Lawyers aren't fighting with lawyers publicly online on Facebook so that the world could see. We can't keep pretending like real estate's some different business on an island and then act surprised when like 80-something% of people quit. Or when like 95% of people in the industry really just don't make a full living. Oh my God, I can't believe they're not making a living. Like, I can't believe they don't know. No, we can't act surprised about that. We've got to create the infrastructure for them to be able to do that, but it's got to be thought out. This isn't about go to a conference and listen to some keynote talk that has zero relevance to the industry because it felt good. Well, feeling good is one thing, but actually doing good and working and being productive is another thing, and that's what people need, guidance. Now, when you think about delivering, let's say, like optional training, the reason it doesn't work, like what happens? Okay, here, let's look at it like this, right? If you're a broker and you're thinking to yourself, yeah, we've got this training, but people don't really need to, kind of like what I said earlier. This is what happens because of the approach to the way it was brought in, implemented. Let's use that word, implemented. Here's what happens. The agents who actually need it, like the ones who they need it, they don't end up taking it. Maybe they can't afford. Maybe they didn't think it really mattered. Maybe they thought it was like above them. But because it was optional, they're like, I'm not going to do it. Then you got the agents who, do take it. A lot of them might actually be self-motivated individuals just because, again, you had this optional training. They decide to jump on it. So you're like, you know what? They're good. I'm happy. But these people really do already have this engine that runs for them. The thing that then happens here is that leadership sits back and says, hey, I did it. Yeah, I offered it to them. I gave them the opportunity. But the thing about opportunity, when it doesn't have structure, it doesn't produce the results we want. And we think about agents, a lot of agents have a ton of access to information. I mean, never mind be it online, be it from some of the industry opportunities that are out there. Like the information's available. So they're not struggling because it's not available. They're struggling because, they don't know what to prioritize. They're like, what should I be doing? When should I be doing it? What matters more than something else? Where's the heavier focus when it comes to my time? Most of them actually struggle. They don't even have a system to fall back on. And I find this on a regular basis with all the training that's offered from the brand level, even from the office level. The more and more that I work with more and more agents, the more I find most people don't actually have a DMO, a daily method of operation. And most of the time, especially because the way these brokers are built these days, and again, if you're sitting back going, man, you're totally wrong, then good. Seriously, it's good. You're having an eye-opening moment here, and you're saying, that's not me. Checking each box, that's not me. Good. What I'm trying to do, though, is take a one podcast episode and do a blanket message to all brokers and owners out there and agents. This is for you, too, so please don't think it's not. Okay, but I want to make sure that we help raise the standards in this industry. We help more people do more business, from the agents right to the brokers. And somebody's got to say it. And, well, you know how I roll. We've got to be holding people to a standard. You got to be holding your agents to a standard. Agents, you got to be holding yourself to a standard. I know I hold myself and my team to a standard, and I'm trying to hold everybody in this industry to a standard. But when things like training, when things like self-development are optional, so do standards. They become optional too. And when standards are optional, what do you get? Well, again, and this is for everybody, we are inconsistent with production. We're inconsistent with the sort of internal culture. We're inconsistent with the income, like the money. And, of course, as a broker, you're constantly having to recruit just to replace the churn because there's people coming in and out all the time. We already established that one. And that right there, when you think about it, it's not leadership. It's what you call maintenance, right? You're constantly maintaining. And yes, again, running a business is always going to be finer little tweaks. But to work so hard to try to pick up agents and bring people in based on a value prop that they weren't fully aware of, but they sort of bought into, and then to lose them because it wasn't reality, Again, not leadership, that's maintenance. I'm going to keep going with that, but let's take a quick break right here. Quick sponsor break, which is always important. This episode is brought to you by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems, the award-winning Keep in Touch program. It is your solution to more leads, more repeat, and referral business. And if you sell real estate, you need Kits. As well as REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier magazine for real estate professionals and industry stakeholders for news, analysis, and commentary on Canadian real estate. Be sure to get connected with both of these industry-leading companies. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay, because we were just talking there about leadership and maintenance and, so what does real leadership actually look like right now? What does it require right now? Well, like I already stated, it looks very different than it did, say, 5 years ago. I mean, battling the fact that people aren't coming in. And that right there, leadership is not, hey, we're going to throw a big free pizza party or what I saw so many brokerages do, and I really had to chuckle at many of you when it came to the holiday season. But it's incredible how all the offices these days are trying to show each other up. Like, look what I got. Look what we did for a party. I mean, bringing in people swinging from ceilings and throwing fire. I mean, it's all good. I mean, it creates a party for sure. It's awesome. But, when we're sitting there thinking, I've got to throw a bigger party than my competition, that's just a party. That's not leadership right there. That doesn't mean anything when it comes to productivity. It just means you could throw a party. Right? So again, when we think about leadership, it's not just parties. It's not just, one-off motivational speakers. And I'll tell you straight, I've been saying that to people very often lately. Yes, we come in, we kick ass on a stage, and everybody's going to be on the edge of their seat, and they're definitely going to learn, and they're going to clap, and they're going to say thank you to you after. That we have no doubt. But I can tell you, as one of those people that I just labeled off as I guess you could say, I may fall into, and you can have your opinion on it, but motivational speaker in this industry, just a one-off something for the sake of doing something, again, that's not leadership. You bring them into your training that maybe you host for a couple hours, once a quarter or twice a year. It's not leadership. Just taking pictures with people smiling and posting on social to try to tell people you got great culture. Again, they're pictures on social media. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, maybe it means something, but there's a lot more of a deeper roots that need to come out that people need to actually experience. So when we think leadership, again, as business owners, we're investing in systems that will actually produce results. We're setting expectations with our people. We're reinforcing a lot of the fundamentals and the standards. We're tracking data metrics. We're trying to help people understand where's your business coming from. All of those deals, where can you go and get more of them? What are you doing that's working? What are you doing that's not working? Implementing consistency, even when it's tough. Pushing people out of their comfort zone, pushing them to their next level, holding them accountable to the process. I mean, that's leadership. It's funny, as I said that, I thought, I guess that's a lot of what we do here at MindShare. We hold agents to that standard. We have a lot of fun doing it. It's an incredibly creative process. And it's effective. It produces results. And I guess part of this is why we exist, is because brokerages could be doing a better job of this, but too many people are too passive with all of it. When we think about leadership, it also means understanding this. If your agents aren't producing, understand it's not just their problem. It really is a reflection on the environment that you've built. And it doesn't mean you need to carry people, but it means about providing a structure that works. So when I hear a leader say my agents don't execute, the next question we need to ask ourselves is, execute what exactly? Now, look, I know a lot of this has been talking to brokers, and as an agent listening to this right now, you might have felt like, I don't know if this is for me today, but I told you I want you to listen in because I want you to actually understand this too. If you're an agent that's listening to this right now, you need to start looking through these goggles, through this lens of, stop asking brokers simply just what's the split. Because you could literally go and negotiate split with 10 different brokers and get down to the most micro percentages you want if you really want to go down that road. What's the split? That's not all it is. Or even what's the brand? Again, if you're just looking at the logo, at the set of colors, and that's one reason to make the decision, I can understand it might play a factor. But let's start thinking about asking some tougher questions here. What systems do you have in place? What kind of training do you guys offer? Hey, if I come in there, when you think about a weekly basis, what are you expecting from me? And see, that's an interesting one because what you expect from me, brokers might say, well, it's not me. They're their own business people. They're technically their own independent contractors. They're going to go out there. They're going to run their own business. They're going to do them. I can't really tell them what to do. But, you kind of can. It's your house. And if you want to lead them, give them some of that. Agents, again, so when you're asking, what is expected of me weekly? You see if they give you an answer. If they're like, you do you. You got to measure what kind of leadership is that. Speaking of measure, ask them, how is performance measured? What are you guys looking at? What are you guys paying attention to? Are they telling you just GCI, number of ends? What else are they telling you? Is it that you come to office meetings, that you get involved in the culture, that you're part of the community within our office? What are they measuring? And you can even ask about accountability because we know that self-accountability is one of the toughest things for most people to be able to pull off. Ask that. So let me ask you, I come over there, who's actually accountable for my growth? And I will tell you right off the bat, it's always you. You're always number one when it comes to the accountability. In saying that, though, to have an accountability partner, to have somebody that's in a leadership role at the office be able to check on you, isn't that part of the support that's supposed to be offered? I see it too often. Okay? Answers are too vague. There's not a lot of consistency to it. Maybe it even gets defensive. These are all things you want to pay attention to, right? If they're not giving you details, if it's they said one thing but then they said another, and you got to be able to pick up on that stuff. This is what we talk about negotiating one-on-one, right? If they start getting defensive about what they do or they don't do. You want to just watch for these. These are all red flags. Because the brokerage really should be able to assist in shortening up your learning curve for whatever it is. Be it learning how to actually get in this game and succeed, or be it some sort of technology that you want help with, whether it's learning AI or recording videos or people who are doing podcasts. And that's just to name a few. Maybe it's your website. Maybe it's your CRM. See, they should help you with learning curves. They should help you create a more stable income flow through training, through learning, through guidance. They should help you when, you do have a pressure situation. They should be able to be there. So you definitely want somebody that when you're in the middle of the meat grinder of a deal, that you got somebody you can lean on at any moment. And overall, they should be able to help you make your life. I was going to say make your life more consistent, but make it easier to be more consistent. Because of the structure, because of the planning, because of the direction that is provided. And if your brokerage doesn't, all you're really doing is subsidizing their business with your effort, and that's if you're actually doing the business you want to be doing anyways. And if you're not, now you're still subsidizing the business because you're still paying them on a monthly basis with something. But this is where the industry seems to be heading right now, right? And the next few years, they're really going to create a wider gap there between brokerages that do invest and brokerages that don't. See, the ones that do invest in the training, and literally, you got to think to yourself, if I'm going to bring in a trainer as a broker, and I'm going to foot the bill, I got to make sure these people show up. And I know that's one of your biggest fears. Are they going to show up? Are they actually going to do it? Are they going to want it? And I can't force them. No, but you can hold them to standards. You can create a culture and infrastructure within your office that's going to drive people to take part. Because when you've got that infrastructure of, training that you've invested in and you offer to them, now you've got a different value proposition than your neighbor, the colleague, the competition down the street. When you build real systems around accountability and tracking and data and expectations, people have direction. And now you've got muscle because you got a game plan. It's like any sports team taking to the field, taking to the ice and not having a plan. They're going to be there. They're going to be good, but are they going to be amazing? No. They enforce standards, so do you. You need to do the same. And as people do, they're going to support. They're going to support that execution. They're going to support, that star player. But they're not going to just focus on that one. They're going to focus on everybody and make sure they're trying to take the bottom and make them a star player too. See, those brokerages, they're the ones who are going to win in recruiting. They're the ones that are going to win in retention. They're the ones that are going to win in productivity. And looking at the market that we're in right now, that we've been in for the past year, and we're certainly moving through this year as well, all of this matters more than ever right now. Because the agents, or the brokerages, pardon me, that don't do these things, training, systems, standards, culture, execution, tracking, accountability, they're just going to keep churning through agents and constantly chasing for more agents. And then point fingers at the market. And I got to tell you, more and more agents, especially the newer ones, have less and less knowledge and experience in the industry. And you're going to have to find the diamond in the rough, the needle in the haystack for the one that's actually going to be productive. You know it and I know it. And to just sit back and blame the market, we've got to do better than that. Everything I'm telling you is not an opinion of mine. This stuff's happening. It's happening front and center. I'm seeing it on a regular basis. And the agents who really line themselves up with the right leadership, the right group of people that are actually going to help them and lead them, not just say, hey, look at me or look at us. And the ones who really tie in from a leadership perspective, not just a logo perspective, they're the ones who stay in the game the longest. They're the ones who actually win long term. So look, here's where I want this really to sit in your mind, okay? If you're a broker or owner right now listening to this, and I thank you for tuning in, I really do, audit what you're actually providing to people. Go through and do a list. Don't just say, oh, I know what it is. Like, make a list. Bring it to life. Put pen to paper. Ask yourself, am I doing the right things? Is there anything more I could be doing? Did I pick something up today that one hit me? Another thing you could do is stop calling training an expense. The same way we want agents to invest in themselves, we need to invest in them too. We need to be offering them opportunities for learning, and not just the same recycled stuff that we've been doing for years. And not just having somebody internal be the voice to sort of regurgitate something that they watched on a video. We're talking about bringing in programs that are going to make real impact on agents, things that they haven't seen before. It's not the same as it was last year and the year before and the year before. It's not the same as everybody else is doing. We've got to invest. Invest in your own business. You invest in your own business, and the folks that are part of your business are going to help you drive more business. And if you're a broker owner, think about your infrastructure. Okay, not just incentives, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you this to bring you over. Think about, now that they're here, we talk about retention, what truly, and again, when you do that audit, you're going to be able to see these things. What are you offering? What are you not offering? What are you missing? What more could you be doing? So, broker owner, audit what you're providing. Make a list. Stop calling training an expense. Start investing in your agents. Start investing in you, never mind. Forget the agent for a moment. And I don't mean to say forget the agent, but think about you. Invest in you. Your biggest asset are your agents. If you invest in you, you are technically investing in your agents, investing in your business to drive more business and build that infrastructure. Okay, don't just think what you can offer people from I'll give you a better split or I'll give you more leads. And yes, that's part of the negotiation. But what else have you got once you got them over and they're there? What does it feel like inside? Now, if you're an agent, because you're not off the hook from all this stuff, okay? Stop waiting for permission to start expecting better from stuff. You're sitting in an office or you're working there, you're part of it, but you're feeling it, it's just not working out. You don't need somebody to tell you it's okay. You don't need your girlfriend or your buddy, who's at the same brand, who you hang with, who you really enjoy. You don't need them to say, yeah, you know what, you should make the move, or let's make the move together. No, you need to stand up for you. You need to look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, what's best for me? Okay, get clear on what support actually looks like. What does it actually mean? Not just, again, did I go to an office that has a fancy logo, or a fancy desk, or a fancy office? You get what I'm saying? Like, did I just go for the vanity? Or do the roots of the place, the way it actually functions, does that really work for me? Okay, so you want to really understand, what does support look like for me? Because when I need it, I'm going to need it. And that's really what you're looking for. Support. And align yourself with leaders who invest in themselves. Not posture with fancy, parties. But then distance themselves from everybody. Pretend they're all part of the culture. Pretend they're creating a good culture because they like to have fun. But when the regular day-to-day is happening and they're nowhere to be found, is that somebody or those people that you want to really be working with? Have they created the support that you need? Are they truly leading? Or are they just growing and growing and growing because you just happen to say, you know what, I want to be part of the cool factor, so you go over there only to realize it's really the same stuff it always has been, or maybe it's even worse. Look, standards, success, accountability, culture, it doesn't come because people can write a nice script and tell you things or post a video on social media. These things are enforced by the systems that are internal to that particular brokerage, to that particular set of offices, to that particular group that you want to go to. And if you're not seeing it, it's probably because it doesn't truly exist. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors. And the industry doesn't need more smoke and mirrors. It doesn't need more noise. It doesn't need more posturing. It doesn't need more look at me. We're already getting way too much of that from the public eye, and they have a problem with it. We need to understand that. And we, internally, also need to have a problem with it so we can set our standards higher, because truly, we're here to help those people buy and sell. That's what this is all about. So leadership needs to focus in on, how can I help my agents sell more? How can I help my agents help other people buy and sell more? We need fewer excuses. We need better leadership. The market's changing. Agents' expectations are changing. Brokerages that refuse to adapt are going to be left behind. It's that simple. Now, if this episode made you uncomfortable, it's probably a good sign. I'm David Greenspan, reminding you to build MindShare, because MindShare equals market share. Thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you next week.